largest public conservative backlash that we've seen, because there are a bunch of people, including listeners to Joe Rogan and elsewhere, who think Musk is really cool and they see him as a part of the future. And so there's a tension there. The criticism definitely hits different than if it were coming from someone who hadn't been in the Oval Office just last week, even though, as you say, the Republican politicians work within the government branches where Trump's in charge. You mentioned people jumping online. I mean, we all follow this a lot. I want to show viewers just some of the amazing jokes and memes if we haven't caught them all. Here's one right up front that reminds us of the Sex in the City journaling, but looking at this spat and saying, I couldn't help but wonder, are men too emotional to be in positions of leadership? And you could cue the Sex and the City music. We want to show you others. This one, presidential alert. The girls are crashing out. Extra tease. One Democrat said, who gets custody of JD in the divorce? Another meme remembering the Simpsons scene, but putting these folks in this sort of crazy fight. And one sports fan who says, I just hope both teams lose. Mark, you may have also seen the comparisons to the Kendrick Lamar-Drake battle, except people saying these are two Drakes, both sides losing. And it does remind you that while, yes, in theory, Trump likes all kinds of attention, he's definitely had better news weeks in media and the internet.
Well, I mean, he truly has. I mean, look, if you look at the jobs numbers, if you look at, some of the court decisions he's had, it's been objectively a kind of a rough week for him. But I think to some degree, this has overshadowed everything. I mean, this is what everyone seems to be talking about. And yeah, I mean, the question of, this calls into question Donald Trump's judgment. I mean, yes, of course it does. I mean, Donald Trump's judgment about the company he keeps and the decisions he makes and the relationships he has been it's been a daily question since he's been in public life. But as we've seen again and again and again, no one's going to punish him for this. And I don't think he's going to be punished for this. Now, I do think, though, that it is to some degree a issue that they're focusing on, they're going to continue to focus on. And to some degree, the more they focus on this, the less attention they will be able to give to the kind of governing that could be very destructive that I think a lot of people are more worried about in the long term.
Well, I would say yes and no, because there's constantly this discussion of focus on this or that. But Donald Trump didn't mastermind Elon Musk smearing him with what are allegedly defamatory claims about his personal life that we're not covering. He didn't mastermind that to distract from the thing we're covering later this hour, which is yielding the Supreme Court. He's on defense. He's sort of reacting. And then the bill hangs in the balance. I mean, we don't know whether you could get any House Republican defections. But Elon Musk is signal boosting to a heck of a lot of people who take his word on things that this is a bad bill.
Yeah, I think that to me is the substantive thing here. I mean, I think it could put the bill in jeopardy. I mean, it's obviously a very tight margin to begin with. I think anytime Elon Musk, with the megaphone he has and the credibility he has, frankly, can talk about this. And also, the Republicans don't really have an answer on the deficit. I mean, that's always their biggest issue when Democrats are in power. I mean, this is as budget busting a bill as you can imagine, and none of them really have an answer for it. And I think there have been some critics that this is probably empowered to some degree, but I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the day this costs Republicans some votes, or at least a lot of doubt in the House that could affect the substance of this bill, if not just the existence of this bill in the end.
Is the Republican Party then somewhat weakened if Musk remains in this posture as a newly angry, loud critic rather than a funder and ally?
100%. Yeah. I mean, one, because it's a massive distraction. And two, I mean, they could lose massive amounts of campaign money. I mean, he has been propping up a lot of candidates for certainly the last cycle. I mean, he's obviously pretty adept at getting under Donald Trump's skin and trying to take credit for his victory in 2024. But yeah, no, I think that this is definitely something that's going to be an ongoing problem for them. But I do think, again, getting to the substance of this, the question of this bill and its effect on it could be something that really has a bigger effect than we might be paying attention to now.
Yeah, and that's what's so interesting, because it started with Musk hitting the bill. Also, I've highlighted in our coverage, admitting that a big part of how he looks at this is whether he can get enough money out of it. All of this public service talk didn't even hold. I mean, he's not even pretending. And yet, if he didn't get the return on investment he wanted out of this 130 days, he certainly got a lot of other costs. And so he may be actually, for how smart he is, I don't think anyone says he's not smart. But he may have priced this out poorly and is now angry at himself without being the type of person who acknowledges that. Mark Leibovich walking us through it on a weird, wacky week. Thank you and have a good weekend.
Happy to do it, Ari. Thanks.
Absolutely. Appreciate you. We're going to fit in a break, but coming back is that big breakthrough. If you remember how many nights the lead story was Trump trying to square off with judges over that mistaken deportation, tonight Trump's DOJ yields to the rule of law. We have that story and what it means for the Supreme Court going forward.